The Miami GP revealed yet another issue in the chemistry of Red Bull, and this time it seems like the cards have been dealt against Sergio Perez. The Mexican isn't happy with how his tyre management cost him a proper shot at the win, and the fact that he was beaten by his teammate, who started P9, only goes to humiliate him even further. This adds up to the scenario of Perez fighting for the championship with Perez, but with him slipping up from the competition, a huge shake-up is awaiting for Red Bull in close times. So, will Perez survive the storm and this entire turmoil? The recent race in Miami has shown that qualifying and setting a time earlier in the session matter a lot, as Perez was able to grab the pole position and have a dominant position for the main event. Verstappen wasn't as lucky, but with the Dutchman winning the race from P9, it just goes to show that you don't need a lot when you have such great talent and an amazing car under your hands. But one thing stands out. Verstappen set the fastest lap times on 40-lap-old hard tyres, while Perez wasn't able to catch up on new medium compound tyres, and this has enraged the Mexican a lot. According to reports, Perez has asked his team to delve deeper into the issue of his tyres going absolutely ballistic and not being able to compete with Verstappen, while his teammate did nothing but demolish the rest of the grid. At one point, Verstappen completed a double overtake on Magnussen and Leclerc to claim P6, and by the time we were racing on lap 15, Verstappen was P2 and had hunted down his teammate. This came at a time when Perez was able to beat Verstappen twice, while the Dutchman tried to complete an overtake on him in Jeddah and Baku. Both of the races suit the Mexican's driving style much better, but with him being much better on street circuits, we were left wondering as to how he didn't manage to perform better during the Miami GP, a track that's labelled as a circuit one. All of this competition is something that doesn't suit Verstappen and his camp, and it seems like they're sick and tired of Perez not accepting the fact that he is the number 2 driver and Red Bull brought him for that reason only. Sky F1 pundits believe it's only a matter of time before the Mexican gets replaced for his recent actions of competitiveness, and this entire situation starts to shape up a bit like Bottas' first years with Mercedes, where he had to accept that he doesn't have the superiority to fight Hamilton for at least one title or one season. Furthermore, there was an interesting moment between Perez and his engineer's communication, and according to Davidson, there was a lack of it, and Perez wasn't informed about the fight with Verstappen when the Dutchman was approaching him with immense speed. When talking about this matter, Davidson added, "It's been really strange listening to Perez's radio. They haven't told him anything about this fight between himself and Max Verstappen, whereas on Verstappen's side of the garage, it's been constant. We've heard it coming through, that constant check on how the relative race gap is between him and his teammate. Perez has been out there, in a way, driving blind. It's been very odd, a bit too quiet on his radio." What this points out is that Red Bull knew that Verstappen would absolutely demolish the competition ahead of him, and given the fact that Horner has congratulated Perez in a very interesting way for his pole position, saying, "Congrats Checo on receiving a pole position under the red flag," it goes to show that there are two sides to the story when a Red Bull driver obtains a win or a pole position. To top this off, during Perez's win in Baku, Horner immediately jumped on the radio and said to Verstappen that he had bad luck with a safety car, instead of congratulating Perez for his second win of the season. It's not a secret that there will always be preferences at Red Bull, and whoever tries to challenge Verstappen, the end result will be him being thrown out of the team or shown the place and the role that he needs to play. This has been the current situation of the team, and with Verstappen being challenged early for the lead, one couldn't help but wonder, is Perez out of the big picture at Red Bull? Apart from Davidson, Ralf Schumacher also believes that there is a huge upset in Verstappen and his team when it comes to the Dutchman having Perez as his teammate for a longer period of time. And even though Perez is probably the most competitive teammate Verstappen has had in his career, apart from Ricciardo, that doesn't suit the two-time world champion at all. When talking about this matter, Ralf Schumacher claimed that prior to the Miami GP, Verstappen's camp had made a request to the team to replace Perez from 2025 onwards. As the German said, "It's difficult, and from my point of view it's clear that the Verstappen side wants a new teammate. I hear these rumours everywhere. I see it as a problem that Perez knows his time at Red Bull Racing will expire. He's fighting for his chance to play up front, to win, to have a say in the title. It's like this, the teammate is always the biggest competitor, and who knows what possibilities there'll be later. You can see from Hamilton how fast it goes. That's why Sergio is now becoming more selfish, and as far as selfishness goes, Max Verstappen can't complain." Now, where does the issue with Perez's tenure at Red Bull lie? For starters, there is an increase in talent in Red Bull's academy, with Liam Lawson receiving the super license needed to drive in Formula 1, and Tsunoda has shown that when he's under pressure, he can deliver results that are considered overperformance, given the fact that he drives an absolute terrible car. To top that off, Ricciardo is also eagerly waiting on the sidelines for a further slip in the direction of Perez showing teeth towards Verstappen, making it a make or break season for the Mexican. But is there a real possibility that we'll see Perez successfully challenge Verstappen for the title, and therefore providing us with a similar season to the one that we witnessed back in 2016? As of now, the main issue that Perez has is consistency, and no matter what the speed he shows on street circuits, it's not enough to win a championship. We've seen Verstappen demolish his competition without major issues, and in the races he's finished behind Perez, it was obvious that he struggled with other issues with the car, such as stability. Nonetheless, there is a chance that Perez will accept his fate and understand that while he doesn't have a chance to fight Verstappen for the championship, Red Bull was the team that salvaged his career, and they're the ones that actually gave him another chance in the sport. Still, he has high hopes that the championship will go his way later in 2023, and when talking after the Miami GP outcome, the Mexican said, "I really wanted the win, it would have meant a lot to me. But it's about not giving up. It's a long season ahead, and we've got to keep pushing, and hopefully there'll be many more good moments for all of us coming." Obviously today Max deserved the victory because he was the fastest car out there. Really early on, I saw the medium was very fragile initially, so I had to protect the tyre quite a lot. Now, the fact that Verstappen was able to beat his teammate in his own game, as Perez is known to be the tyre whisperer on the grid due to his ability to preserve tyres to their maximum, goes on to show that a lot can change in just a couple of races. This happened back in 2022 as well, when Perez started to show teeth to Verstappen, and all of a sudden he was much slower than the rest of the competitors, with the Mexican feeling more and more strayed away from the RB18. With this in mind, Schumacher feels like there is a huge possibility that Tsunoda or Ricciardo have a high chance to replace Perez further down the road, and the Mexican doesn't have stable chances to secure his seat for the upcoming seasons. While it wouldn't make a lot of sense for Red Bull to replace such a driver as Perez, the fact that they have young and upcoming talent in Liam Lawson and Ayumu Iwasa from F2 goes to show that they have a lot to think about for their future, because if they don't hire from the inside, then the entire academy makes no sense at all. As of now, tough times lie ahead of Perez, and he'll be put under tremendous pressure to deliver top-notch results week in and week out. So with this in mind, do you think that he'll hold his position in Red Bull, or will Verstappen's word be the last one to be listened to in the Austrian team? Let us know in the comments down below.